Welcome to Four Good Stories, where we each share four good stories happening in the world this week to bring a little positivity to your weekend. My name's Addison.
And I'm Corinne. For Good is proudly brought to you by Hope for Good, a free subscription service supporting families of children with cancer and other critical illnesses through monthly care packages filled with toys and other items to cater to the kids' likings.
We have some really good news coming from us this week. We've had a really good week. So, first good news is we have gotten like 120 new applicants to our Hope for Good program. Well, it's never good news to see so many children with different types of childhood cancers and other severe illnesses. Our goal is to serve as many of those kids as possible. We know the kids are out there. We know that the families are struggling, and every day we read the stories. I mean, this week alone, we've read 120 new stories of families looking for this opportunity to provide hope to their kids. And we also get to read the stories submitted to us from families that are already in the program. So we know the program is really helping these families, and that's why it's good news that we were able to reach 120 more kids. We actually had a family reach out and tell us that the kid in the program, that he always shares that the gifts are coming from his friends and he can't wait for the gift from his friends. And that just makes us so happy because we do feel like friends to all these kids that we get to serve on a monthly basis. So we're so excited to welcome 120 new kiddos into our program. We get to shop for them. If you don't know much about Hope for Good, we shop for a monthly gift care package for kids with critical illnesses. So 120 more kids will be getting a free package on their front porch every month that they can look forward to, that has really awesome toys and stuffed animals, just like the ones we have here today. And we are just so excited to work with all of these new families. Second on the dock, a really good news is we have a 7 Brew here in Henderson now, and that alone is really good news. We love 7 Brew, but they reached out and they told us that they were wanting to do a program where for 3 days anyone could come in and donate as little or as much money as they wanted, and then they could order like whatever. It was basically a pay what you can. Yeah. And then we got all of the money to support our programs like Hope for Good. So they were able to donate. It was over $9,000 to the program, which helps so many families here at For Good Community and at Hope for Good. So it has just been a great week. We've had so much good news and just a lot of positivity. So we're really excited to share that with you.
We love to look at all of the kids' interests that come in because they're always so funny. It could be anything from like Peppa Pig. I was reading an email today and it was saying that the kid loves hot sauce. So we just love reading about these kids and their stories, and we're very excited. It's been a very good week.
Yeah, and if you or anyone you know are interested in donating, we accept any new toys, new hot sauce bottles that we can send to the kids in this program. And you can find out more about that from our website that we have linked below.
Should we get into the 4 good things?
I guess we should.
Okay.
So on to this week's 4 good things. We have some really awesome stories. First one, in the medical industry, Igor Efimov, a professor of biomedical engineering and cardiology at Chicago's Northwestern University, has developed the first dissolvable pacemaker. With his colleagues, at first, I didn't know a lot about pacemakers, but as I read more about this story, I thought it was just really cool to share. He and his team further miniaturized their original design and created the world's tiniest known pacemaker. It's smaller than a grain of rice, can be implanted with a minimally invasive injection, and dissolves when it is no longer needed. Pacemakers electrically stimulate cardiac muscles to control heart rates, with many patients only requiring them for short-term heart problems following surgery. For babies born with congenital heart defects, which we have some kids in our program with congenital heart defects, Efimov's goal was to make a temporary pacemaker that was as small and fragile as its patient. Now we can place this tiny pacemaker on a child's heart and stimulate it with a soft, gentle, wearable device, and no additional surgery is necessary to remove it, he shares. He also goes along to share that typically wires literally protrude from the body, so coming from the pacemaker inside. And then when the pacemaker is no longer needed, a physician pulls it out. The wires can become enveloped in scar tissue, so when the wires are pulled out, it can damage the heart muscles and actually really harm some people. They share that that is actually how Neil Armstrong died.
Wow.
He had a temporary pacemaker after a bypass surgery, and when the wires were removed, he unfortunately experienced internal bleeding. And then with this new pacemaker, those wires are no longer an issue. FMOF's team also paired the tiny pacemaker with a small flexible patch that sits on the patient's chest and detects a regular heartbeat. When this happens, it automatically emits pulses of near-infrared light to wirelessly control the pacemaker and get the patient back to their ideal heart rate. What I thought was really cool is not only because when I read the article or the headline, it was like pacemaker now the size of a piece of rice. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then as I read, this really solves a lot of the issues with pacemakers and with these surgeries. And I just think that's something that is really optimistic, that we're getting into the world where we can develop these technologies that make medical procedures safer.
Yeah.
And lower that death rate and even injury rate with procedures like that, because it gives you, I mean, if your tiny baby has to have a pacemaker and you knowing that the risks are significantly lower with this new technology, I mean, that's a win for everyone. How could it not be?
Especially how hard that would be on a kid's body, all the wires and them doing all these surgeries and everything. So the fact that they're able to just stick her in there.
And then eliminate like half of the surgical procedures needed for pacemakers. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. My first story comes from NPR, and it is about a group of 19 Buddhist monks who completed a 2,300-mile walk for peace, ending their 15-week journey in Washington, D.C. I was seeing a lot about this on my TikTok and on YouTube and stuff, so I was really glad to read about it because I didn't really know what they were doing or why it was happening. So they began in Texas last October, walking through multiple states with a simple message: practice compassion, mindfulness, and nonviolence in everyday life. Along the way, thousands gathered in quiet support. The journey turned tragic when a car struck several monks in November. One of the men that the car hit, he lost a leg, but then he rejoined the group near the end in a wheelchair, which I think is a powerful reminder of resilience. The monks concluded their walk near the Lincoln Memorial, reminding supporters that peace isn't a destination. It's something we practice step by step. The videos I was seeing, I know I talked about like people gathered in support, but I think I did see the guy that his leg got hurt and he was in the wheelchair, and everyone was like giving him roses, and they would like bless people and give them little forehead kisses, but they weren't talking. Like they would keep on walking. So I think this is a really good story.
It almost makes me emotional, the part where you say like that the reminder is that peace isn't a destination but a journey, because I think there's so many people who really, I mean, just like us, we want a world that is peaceful, and unfortunately it's not going to happen overnight. And I think one of the biggest steps to reaching a more peaceful society is finding peace in the everyday and through the chaos. And we don't focus on that a lot, that to find overall peace, we have to choose it kind of on a day-to-day basis and a minute-to-minute basis. And I think that's a really important message that they shared through this walk. Awesome. My next story is about the Scream Club.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It all started in Chicago when a couple, Manny Hernandez and Alina Sebeliva, had a tough week. Hernandez, a coach and breathwork expert, suggested they let out their feelings. The pair headed to Lake Michigan, where they screamed into the abyss. If you've ever been to Lake Michigan, I love that description. Then people around them begin to join in, which is such a funny picture. You're just like screaming, and people are like, yeah, me too. Me too. Like, let me in on this. Now they host a weekly meetup where people are invited to write down what's bothering them on biodegradable paper, drop it into the water, and scream to their heart's content. Scream Club is now a movement with several U.S. cities starting their own chapters. While people could scream into a pillow on their own, doing it together is what the founders believe is key. Being able to have that with other people is more powerful, Hernandez told People magazine. Strangers turn to each other, hugging and crying together, and that's amazing to witness. Especially with the state of the world, a lot of people need that release. Mm-hmm. Scream Club isn't therapy, but it's therapeutic. And in just the chaos of life, the chaos of the past year, it seems to be exactly what people need. I think this sounds awesome. Like, I'm a person who really believes in the power of getting people together, the power of community, and sharing what you're going through with people. It's almost like when we suffer together, it makes things a little easier. So I just love this story. It reminds me of when we wrote down the things that we wanted to leave behind and then we burned them in my living room.
Yes, with the candle.
So we've done a little bit of this.
We could start this.
The Scream Club?
Yeah.
Tri-state area Scream Club.
Yeah. We could use the Ohio.
Wait, you're really onto something.
I know.
Write that down. Oh, we're making the plans. Yeah. Follow us for more. We'll figure it out.
Okay, my next story is very, very popular right now. I'm sure everyone has heard about Punch the Monkey, so I had to talk about him. I love this guy. Punch, a baby Japanese maki at the Ichiwaka City Zoo in Japan, has become an unexpected global sensation. Born in July 2025 and abandoned by his mother shortly after birth, zookeepers hand-raised the little monkey and introduced him to a large orangutan stuffed toy to give him comfort and help him feel secure. All the videos I was seeing of Punch were him being bullied by these monkeys and then him running away to his little stuffed orangutan. It was so sad. But
there's good news.
There is good news. His story brought crowds to the zoo, sparked a surge in demand for the toy he carries everywhere, and even inspired a trending hashtag hang in there punch. I have used this hashtag on my TikTok, and I'm not kidding. But recent updates suggest Punch is gradually being accepted by the other monkeys in his troop, even receiving grooming and affectionate interactions, a heartwarming sign that he's finding his place both online and with his monkey friends.
I love just the little things that bring TikTokers together.
I know. Good for you, Punch.
Punch has been a phenomenon.
He has. He deserves it. I love that guy.
Well, we're big animal lovers here, so my next story has to do with another one of our favorite animals. Big topic of conversation here, beavers.
Yes.
Scotland's Glen Affric National Nature Reserve, home to ancient Caledonian pine trees, gorgeous lochs, and magnificent hiking trails, is now home to 7 beavers, a homecoming for a species that disappeared 4 centuries ago in this area. Forestry and Land Scotland, working alongside the charity Trees for Life, released a family of 5 and a breeding pair of beavers at 2 sites to rebuild this population. Apart from their work as ecosystem engineers, the beavers are drawing visitors and boosting local economies. A single reintroduction site could eventually inject an estimated $2.7 million into the local economy in Scotland each year. In a world where we often hear about what we're losing, the return of the beaver after 400 years is a powerful reminder of what we can regain, which is a quote shared from Steve Micklewright, which sounds very Scottish. I love that they're share of engineers because our favorite thing about beavers is that they build their little dams.
Their little homes.
I love the beaver on TikTok that takes all of, like, the toys and, like, the bath mats and tries to build dams in their home.
I have a beaver friend that lives on the west side at one of the parks, and there's a river, and I would go there, and I kept seeing, like, little tiny trees knocked down, and I'd see the little marks that he's cutting with his teeth, and I'd be like, what the heck? So I'd look around, and I remember I was walking down the path, and he poked his little head out of the water. And I go, there is no way there is an act. I didn't know beavers were like here.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but he was all by himself and he was carrying all the little sticks and
That's why he was looking at you. He said, "Are you gonna get over
yeah,
here and
like come help me.
This dam needs to be built. I'm on a timeline."
I haven't gone to visit him in a while, but maybe I can make him live with me and he can build dams in my hallway.
I think they're important for our ecosystem.
Oh, okay.
We should.
I just love beavers. So
But
much.
I love that they're like releasing these beavers could produce so much people visiting this area that it can boost the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like the beavers are a little Taylor Swift performing in this nature preserve. Like that people are just so excited to see them build their dams that we're all gonna go visit because I know I would.
Okay, my next story is from ABC News, and it's about a group of fourth graders in their class in Florida. Their video went viral because one of the students went up to the teacher and was like, "I don't feel very smart today." And this broke the teacher's heart, obviously, because that's a very sad thing to say. And the student surprised this little girl with putting sticky notes all over her desk when she got there the next morning with just like really kind words and uplifting like sayings and things fourth graders say.
Aww.
And I just think it's a really sweet clip, and I think everyone should watch it. And I think this is a important headline to share because all the headlines now are very heavy and very negative, I guess. So this story resonated with viewers nationwide as a feel-good reminder of how empathy and community start young and how powerful simple acts of love can be.
I think that should be like our code word for we're having a bad day. It's like I don't
What?
feel very smart today.
Oh.
And then we know that we need to uplift each
we need some
other.
uplifting words. I can do that for you.
I can do that for you too.
Oh, thanks. I want to add the fact that she felt okay enough to go to her teacher and say that really shows how good of a teacher she is, I think. So
Teachers are important.
yeah, I really love that story.
My last story is something that I wanted to include because it is something that is really important to us here at the nonprofit. You know a lot about Hope for Good. We talk a lot about Hope for Good, but For Good Community is also really big on the recycling sphere. So I wanted to share a story of Sound Bounce. Sound Bounce is an acoustic material developed to enhance sound quality and reduce noise in interior spaces, all while supporting sustainable design. Each square meter repurposes approximately 283 recycled tennis balls, significantly reducing waste and lowering CO2 emissions. Globally, approximately 400 million tennis balls are produced each year, with only 1% being recycled, while the rest take hundreds of years to decompose. Sound Bounce addresses this waste issue by repurposing these discarded balls into functional acoustic panels and furniture, giving them a meaningful second life. Sound Bounce is versatile, fitting a wide range of interior architectural applications, including wall paneling, ceiling treatments, and integrated furniture. It can be adapted to both flat and curved surfaces, offering architects and designers flexibility in both functionality and creative expression. I love stories like this. I know this might not be everyone's positive story cup of tea, but I mean, just thinking of 400 million tennis balls getting thrown out each year, and that's a minuscule portion of other things that we're throwing out that can be recycled. So the more and more ideas we have out there of what to do with these items that can no longer serve their original purpose, it just brings me so much hope, knowing that every day there's probably someone with another invention of how we can use these resources to give them a second life.
Especially, like, I would have never thought about tennis balls. So the fact that they're using all of these tennis balls and recycling them for this good thing, like, people need to think of more, not random things, but you know what I mean? Just, I don't know. I like
and
that.
here at For Good, we take clothing that is no longer able to be utilized by people, and we make them into basically indestructible
Yeah.
recycled dog beds, and right now they are getting donated to so many different shelters. We have had really good reviews from
Mm-hmm.
shelter dogs, shelter employees, that they are loving these big indestructible
Yeah.
recycled dog beds. So this is something that definitely hits home to us here at For Good Community.
My sister's dog is an absolute menace, and he will destroy things. And it's Avy. You guys know Avy,
Here last
but
week.
yeah, but she was telling me that he'll like bite it and scratch it and do whatever dogs do to dog beds, and it hasn't. There's nothing on it. Looks
Yep.
brand new. They're really cool. My very last story. Another animal story.
We love animals. We're big animal people.
American bison have returned to Illinois prairie for the first time in nearly 200 years. A small herd of 6 bison were brought to Burlington Prairie in Kane County this winter in a ceremony that drew members of the Native American community and local supporters to honor what see as a homecoming for these iconic animals. Once widespread across the Midwest, bison disappeared from Illinois as settlement and agriculture transformed the landscape. Their reintroduction, led by American Indian Center in partnership with local conservation groups, reconnects not only an important species but also cultural history and stewardship with the land. As the bison acclimate to their new home, plans are underway to move them onto larger fenced prairies this spring, where they will play a role in ecosystem restoration and educational programs. It's a small but meaningful step towards bringing back the
Ecological.
ecology and spirit of prairie that once defined this region. I didn't know bison were in Illinois.
Yeah, we have like the at Land Between the Lakes, there's like a bison pass, and I remember when I went there, I was like, these don't belong here, but they do.
Yeah.
We used to have all kinds of bison roaming around, like we've got squirrels roaming around.
That's crazy. I'm so happy they're back after 200 years.
And they're just like the most beautiful,
They are.
little majestic. Well, they're not little.
No.
Beautiful creatures. So
Large.
it's really exciting. Beavers, bisons, we want them all.
Yes.
If they belong here,
Beaver
they
and
should
bison.
be here. Yep.
Big ol' Indiana.
We welcome them.
Finally, the best thing is that through our program Hope for Good, over 250 children with critical illnesses will receive a free care package this month to spread a bit of love to families going through so much. To learn or to donate, you can email Addison, and her email is addison@forgoodcommunity.org.
Those were this week's 4 things. Until next time, keep looking for the good, and if you find any, feel free to share any of your feel-good stories with us.
If you're subscribed, you can drop a comment, and you can tell us something good that happened to you or someone you know, and you will be entered into our giveaway, and you can pass that good on by sharing it with someone who can use it.
Join us again next week to see how the world gets better 1 week at a time. For good stories, because the world has more good than we think.